It's an old phrase that has been used in a wide range of media, TV shows, movies, books, memes, and it's even considered a bit cliche. But I keep returning to the phrase um, when I'm looking at different topics like pollution. Um, some polluters use the letter of the law, basically the point that they can because something is legal, as an excuse, although they have the data to show the harm of some of the stuff they're doing. It applies pretty much anytime someone uses the excuse or a variation of it where something is legal so it's okay. The phrase came to mind again while I was watching some Shark Tank episodes on YouTube. On one particular Shark Tank Australia, a so called psychic went in front of the sharks promoting her psychic business. At that point, her primary income was from her website. And after a bit of drilling, she admitted that she would only spend minutes a day on the website. Uh, all of her revenue was coming from ads through Google Ads and a couple other ad services that supplied ads on her website. She wanted to expand her website to include services, including tarot card reading and other types of psychic assistance. When one of the sharks pressed her on how the readings would be done, she admitted that her intent was to have the readings to be automated, no humans involved. The shark that asked the question was rather aggravated that she would so readily admit that it would be automated, which from his standpoint it was basically fraud, in that people would be thinking that they're talking to a real psychic when it would actually be canned responses. Overall, her pitch wasn't going very well, and one by one of the sharks dropped out. One of the sharks, who says he has a science background, laid into her pretty hard and was basically accusing her of being a fraudulent person. It eventually got down to one person. One of the women decided to invest. Now, at the time of the episode, they showed some screenshots of her website, and it wasn't impressive. It basically, what she was doing was pulling articles from various psychic and pseudoscience places and reposting them on her website, along with various ads, which made her the money. So she made enough visitors to have an income in the hundreds of thousands of dollars. And she felt that she could get into the millions of dollars with the assistance to evolve her website and to get access to advanced programming to do the automatic reading. Well, the one last remaining shark decided to invest, and recently went to the website to see how it changed. And change it did. Uh, it was fully redesigned, very animated and glossy looking, and posted throughout the site were these buttons for $3 per minute psychic readings. But near the bottom of the page was a small button that said live psychic reading or something like that, which indicates to me that they did actually move forward with the automated reading. I'm talking, there's like half a dozen buttons for psychic readings, but only one in an obscure location that actually said live readings. So you might ask, how does this fit in the idea of just because you can doesn't mean you should? Well, the one shark that invested, at points she showed herself to be a bit critical about the idea of what the so-called psychic was doing. But she saw the opportunity to make money, and so money overrode ethics, basically. And she invested. And the site is probably going to bring in the predicted amount of money, because you have this high finance person with low enough ethics to invest in a fraudulent person. And that's how it fits. Just because this woman could invest doesn't mean that she should have invested. If she was ethical, she would have done what all the rest of the sharks did, not only bow out, but publicly state her objections to the situation. But once she started seeing how much of the site was going to be automated and how low labor there was going to be once it was built up, she just basically saw free money. It brings me back to a common theme in a number of businesses which have negative effects, but at the same time make a lot of money. They could accomplish a lot of the same things more ethically, but it wouldn't give as high a financial return. And especially with businesses that are publicly traded, and you got the stockholders that expect a certain return, the finances become more important than the ethics of the business. That's part of the reason why we have so many lobbyists trying to de-escalate government regulations, so that they can make more profit by not adhering to the more ethical direction they should go. And I was actually thinking about how a lot of the car manufacturers are rather unethical. It goes back to when I was a kid, and the question of lead in gasoline and paint and other things was becoming a bigger public issue, and how it was a huge, complicated situation. Those using lead in their products did not want to back out, even though there was plenty of evidence showing that the lead, as it was being used, was causing problems. And eventually, the government largely put a stop to it. Although I've read recently how it's interesting what lead is still used. Um, and then you've got the mile per gallon rating, something the gas companies have opposed pretty much from the start. Um, the unethical part of that is the point that the car manufacturers come out with their vehicles. Over time, if they had their perception on making their products as ethical as possible, they would have on their own pushed for better, cleaner vehicles. But they would pretty much stick to whatever the law was saying. The law says this level of efficiency for your vehicles is adequate, then that would be it. Uh, Sometimes they go a little bit further when gas would get high and they needed to start marketing more fuel efficient vehicles. Um, then when gas price would go down, there'd be less talk about fuel efficiency. Uh, to me, it portrays the unethical nature of the car manufacturers. They evolve their product as far as they need to legally and marketably, but not as far as they really need to go to better the environment. Um, to me, it's an example of economics trumping ethics.